Welcome back, everyone. Brian Winegardner is with us today. He's an Allen County Commissioner. We want to talk a little bit. First off, you guys had your reorganization meeting. Tell us what that is, first of all. I'm not sure if people really know what that is and what it's about, and you were named president, but how that all works.
Yeah. So under the revised code, we have to name a president and vice president for each year. And what we decide to do here locally is just do a rotation, and then we rotate through each person every year. So next year it'll be the current vice president that will be president. So, it's a collaborative effort, and each person is just as important as the next.
I got to thinking about it too, especially now that you're president. If you didn't already know parliamentary procedure, you kind of have to know that now, because there are certain things you have to do as far as leading the meeting and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's correct. Fortunately, I have had some experience with that. Coming up through high school with FFA. That's been a few years, I guess. But then I was on the Allen East School Board for about 8 years. So I did learn some experience at that.
Yeah, your teachers are going to be proud that you remember that from FFA. That's very good. Okay, let's talk about the Treasury Department. I know for quite a few months now, you guys have been kind of waiting for a final ruling on how those rescue funds can be used. Are you getting more guidance? Is there a little more clarity there?
We have. Just last week, the Treasury Department released their final ruling. There really wasn't anything that changed drastically, a couple tweaks here and there, but for the most part, it stayed the same as what it was, keying on infrastructure, water, sewer, and so forth. One key area that does allow us is during the COVID, that the court system, the backlog there, and there's a section in that will allow us to address that maybe. So what our plans are is to meet with the prosecutor, judges, and public defender to try to get a plan in place to try to clear up some of that backlog.
Remind us again how much money is coming to the county, and I think you had mentioned before some of that is spoken for, but now that you got a kind of a ruling there, you can kind of figure out what to do with the rest.
Yeah, so mid-year of 20, we received half the payment, which was right around $9 million. Mid-year 22, we'll receive the second half. So it was split up in two payments, and mid-year of 22, we'll have the full payment amount that we'll be able to use.
And I know, Brian, you had said that you guys were purposely deliberate in not, putting this money aside for anything specific right now because you wanted that clarity. And it's a good move, because I think the fear was you would put this money towards something and then all of a sudden they would come back and say, hey, yeah, you can't do that.
Right. Two things there. During COVID with that, we learned that rules changed quite often. So we didn't want to put ourselves in a corner by paying or doing a project that they would later come out and say, well, that's you can't do that now. So then the local funds would be on the hook for that project, and we sure didn't want to do that.
Now that you guys are into the new year, I know you're thinking about capital needs and those kind of things. Anything that stands out there or that might be tops on the agenda for this year?
Well, we'll sit down with our buildings and grounds superintendent, and we'll review all of our capital projects. We didn't get to everything we wanted to in 21, so that carries over into 22, of course. But our buildings, they're ever needing upgrades, and they're just getting to the point where they're aging, and that's our courthouse is a prime example of that. It's not extremely user-friendly. It's definitely not COVID-friendly. So there's some areas in that ARPA money as well that would allow us to address some of those situations. And then, of course, our county jail, it's probably one of our newer buildings, but, it gets a lot of wear and tear being open 24/7 and the operations that go on there. So those are kind of our key things that we're going to be looking at moving forward.
All right. Keeps you busy as always, Brian. Hey, thanks so much for talking with us. We appreciate it.
Welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Nice chatting with you, and we'll be back after this.